And then, how many ever heard of sickle cell anemia in the black community? Raise your hand. Okay. Now again, back in the 60s and 70s, I was finding sickle cell anemia in deer, and frogs, and white people. I'm saying, well, that doesn't fit the model. It's supposed to be a genetic thing in the black community. Well, it turns out, when the hemoglobin forming cells and the bone marrow is being formed, and mom is missing something, they make incomplete, imperfect hemoglobin. Linus Pauling, who had 2 unshared Nobel Prizes, spent his whole life looking for the gene for sickle cell anemia. He could never find it. You know why? It never existed. It's an inborn error metabolism. It's not a genetically transmitted thing. It's in this book. It was published in the Smithsonian Institute in 1983, and the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia contacted me in 1991 and said, we just read your book, and is that true what you're saying? Yeah. Can you do this in people like you're working in animals? Yeah. It turns out that the same thing happens in white folks and black folks and yellow folks and red folks and so forth. Doesn't matter what your genetic color is, because hemoglobin is hemoglobin, bone marrow is bone marrow. But they couldn't have a black genetic disease being found in white people, so they give it a different name. It's called thalassemia in white people. It's called sickle cell anemia in black people. See, they had to protect that genetic theory, didn't they? Are we beginning to get the picture here? Same with Down syndrome. Down syndrome is not a genetic disease. It occurs in the first 2 or 3 minutes of pregnancy because of a zinc deficiency. And it's easily prevented. In the early stages, easily reversed. And about 12 years ago, I got a call from Lauren Knievel. How many of you ever heard of Evel Knievel, you know, the great daredevil? Well, his niece-in-law is named Lauren, and she called me up. She's one of our customers. I had never met her, but I knew she was one of our customers. And she told me, she said, Doc, I'm in trouble. I had 2 beautiful pregnancies, no problem. But this pregnancy, I'm 2.5 months pregnant, and I didn't feel good, so I went to the doctor, and he listened to the baby, and had a very funny heart murmur, he says, which is common in babies with Down syndrome, because oftentimes babies will be born with a heart defect with Down syndrome, because it's also caused by zinc deficiency. And I'm concerned. And they sent me to 2 different laboratories, each unknowing that the other laboratory was looking, and one did an amniocentesis, took fluid out of the amniotic sac, and they found the cells that showed that it had Down syndrome baby. I went to the other one, they did an ultrasound, said they had Down syndrome baby, and everybody wanted me to have an abortion. I didn't want to do an abortion. And I read where you can reverse this and prevent it in animals with nutrition. Can you do that in people? I said, well, probably, but never been done. And people have done it in animals a lot, but not in people. Okay, we're going to do it. I'm going to be your first one. I said, well, we got to know this legal stuff. She said, there ain't no time for no legal stuff. We're going to talk about chemicals here. I already know. This is just nutrition. Okay, let's do it. So I gave her the 90 essential nutrients, 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids, and gave her some extra zinc. At the full term, 9 months, she had a perfect baby, no Down syndrome. I've done it to many, many embryos since then, but they got to be before that 91st day. After that, you got what you got.